Over the course of the last, I would say, couple months now, I have been trying my best to find what I consider to be ideal AA flashlights for everyday carry. It has been a bit of a struggle, and I've spent quite a bit of money to try to figure out which one worked best for me personally. And today in this video, I'd like to tell you which ones I found are in my top 5 favorite AA flashlights. Now you'll notice there's some missing flashlights, some that you might be familiar with, such as the Olight i5T. I can tell you right now that these 13 flashlights are all better than the Olight i5T. So that should hopefully give you a perspective of where these sit relative to all the other flashlights on the market. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so as you can see, I have quite a few flashlights first off that are from Lumentop. So we have 6 flashlights now. 2 of these are basically synonymous with each other. They are identical for the most part. There's some minor differences we'll go over, but generally speaking, they have a lot of good flashlights, you know, from a functional perspective. Whether you agree with them and how they do their stuff is not the point. The point here was to try to find what was the best flashlights I could. So here it is, 5 flashlights. I gotta find 5 flashlights that I can truly recommend. Well, the EDC05, that one's gone. The Lumentop FWAA, no. The Tool AA, and this might be a bit of a surprise, is also not one I would recommend. And even the Niozsche variant, nope, neither. The Skill Hunt E2A, another excellent budget flashlight, nope, those are all gone. The absolutely phenomenal UI present in the H53C, close but not quite. The only American-made flashlight on this list, this is the Peak El Capitan. Yeah, the quantum tunneling technology, I don't recommend it. Which gets us down to these 5 flashlights right here. And if I'm being honest, some of these may end up getting replaced, but there are 3 to 4 of them are near as good as you will get with current tech. So let's start from left to right, shall we? So first of all, we have the only, I think it's the only Lumentop, no, there's 2. There's 2 Lumentops on this list. And that is the Lumentop EDC AA is the first one up. This is the cheapest in this 5 by a far margin. And I didn't let price determine whether it would be the best flashlight or not. It had to meet a certain set of characteristics. And this one actually does and competes with even these top flashlights, which is really quite remarkable. So first off, it is capable of using both battery types, the 14500 and the AA. It has, I want to say, I can't remember if it's 3 or 4 modes. 4 modes, that's right, 4 modes, and the lowest output is still quite low at like 4 to 5 lumens. Very important. That was one of the big problems with the Lumentop Tool AA. The lowest mode is between 10 and 18 lumens, which isn't low enough. The other thing that this is a major improvement over, not only size, but the pocket clip here is so much better than the Lumentop Tool AA. It's actually one of the worst pocket clips of any of the flashlights on this list. And on top of that, you have a nice proud mechanical button that requires a long press, so you're not going to accidentally press it. And we have a diffuse emitter here where you get a nice wide beam, so you get to take all that volume of light and you get to spread it out. So this is particularly good for any sort of work that you're doing up close and personal. Even when you're hanging this on a t-shirt, you're actually going to find that you're going to get enough spill that you'll be able to work hands-free even without a hat. So this flashlight, without question, is in my top 5. I was actually kind of surprised and skeptical, but it has changed my mind. In addition to that, this has memory, so once you set it to a certain setting, you can then turn it off, turn it back on, and you come in on the same setting. And that's going to be a great feature that a lot of flashlights that you might be used to don't have. Really, really excellent flashlight. I can't say enough about it. I did find out recently that there are other variants that are much more expensive, but do have the high CRI emitters with a maximum output only 50 lumens lower. And for that, I think that it's certainly worth the upgrade. So I will be trying to find a couple of those to test in the near future. But in the meantime, the Lumentop EDC AA, without question, in the top 5. It is also the only flashlight in this top 5 that is under 20. But I do highly recommend that if you do go ahead and get this flashlight, that you go ahead and you purchase it with, sorry, hold on a second. Purchase it with the included 14500 battery. This is micro USB rechargeable, so you'll get the best of both worlds with a maximum output of 600 lumens. Very, 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 very good. Great value at what is basically $23. So I will put a link to this in the description so you can find this quite easy. And the good news is that this one is also quite widely available. So that's that one. The next one on this list, and this is sort of, I decided that they really don't go in a particular order, but this is the Lumentop EDC05C. This is the biggest surprise of the lot. I didn't necessarily like the shape. I didn't necessarily like the pocket clip in that it didn't have a secondary position here to allow it to be reversed. If they had done that, I think I would like it even better, just like they have in their smaller variants. Same pocket clip, I just wish that they had put a secondary location for it to be put in reverse. I think that would have made a big difference. But even with that, it's not particularly necessary, and that is because the side lights on this flashlight are so bright. They can go up to 400 lumens. Not only can they go up to 400 lumens, they'll hold that output for a solid 30 minutes before dropping down to 200 lumens. The main light is 500 lumens of cool white, and then after it reaches a 30-minute time frame, it will drop down to 250 lumens. So this has the longest running high output of any of the flashlights on this list. Every other flashlight here drops much, much faster, and is because of that function. I can see just how bright we're talking here. This makes the list, even though it is only capable with the 14500. It has a micro USB charger built in and an IP rating of 8. So this is a very good package. On top of that, we have an additional feature in that it can actually magnetically attach to different things. So when you're using that side light, you can actually get even more use. So this, without question, is one of the top 5 that I have found so far. I think it could be improved slightly, but as of right now, definitely in my top 5. I would absolutely carry any of these lights. With those gone, that's Lumentop's offerings that I think are worth looking at. Then we move on to EDCA or EDCA. I hate the name, doesn't matter. The point of the matter is that this particular flashlight, which has 2 variants, a titanium and aluminum version, they are absolutely phenomenal. I love the user interface. I love how sturdy the pocket clip is. The size is much smaller, as you can see, than the other options here, and you get so much out of it. This is the brightest version. I got into a cool white. With a standard AA, you're going to get 400 lumens of output, which is going to maintain for quite a bit of time before it drops down. And that is easily accessible by just a single press. Once this head is tight, press once, 400 lumens. Turn it off, turn it back on, you always get 400 lumens. Now, if you want a more night-friendly amount of light, you simply untwist the head slightly, and now you're into a very, very, very soft and light light. And then simply turning it will switch it from the 2 modes. When you're in the EDC mode, as I like to call it, all you have to do is half press to cycle through the various different modes. This is a very simple and easy to use interface, and no matter what, if this is sitting around, you know that if the head is tight, you're going to get the high, and if the head is loose, you're going to get the low. Very easy, very simple, very functional. Without question, this has got to be in probably my most carried, and that is only because the other flashlight, which has a better user interface in this 5, is a little too big. So let's move on to that one, and that is the Zebralight EDC05C Mark II. Zebralight has the best interface that could possibly exist on a flashlight, in my opinion, and that includes all the custom flashlights. Basically, you have a high, medium, low, but you have a shortcut access to all three. So one press gets you high, hold press gets you low, double press gets you medium. But it gets better, because once you're in one of those three, you'll be able to then select its secondary output. So if I go 1 and I go to its highest setting and I double press from there, it drops down to the other output that is measured in high. Now there are more than 2 that you can select by programming which outputs you want for the high. So you can have so many varieties of combinations, different outputs, low, medium, high. Once you set it up though, the access to low, medium, high are so simple and so easy. This light just blows my mind. On top of that, it's probably the brightest of any flashlight on here with just a standard AAA. At 470 something lumens, at a high CRI of 95 plus, this is the best possible combination. High output, I should say, high CRI, excellent user interface, excellent pocket clip, and on top of that pocket clip, it has the added bonus of being usable with the S1R Baton or Baton 3's pocket clip in this case, and it looks like it was basically made for it. So you'll be able to take this clip off, place this clip here, and even that little cutout right there is perfect for that little height that they've established for the screws. I don't know what else to say. This is probably the best overall light. The only thing letting it down is the size. But the size is kind of an important factor. It's what makes it able to maintain those high lumens for long periods of time, because it is dissipating the heat so well. So I don't want to change this light. I like it. I just want to see a slightly less frumpy looking version of it, and I will be happiest person ever. This is without question probably the best one of the list. Now, I hesitate to include this one in my top 5, only because it is so much better than the other ones on my list. But the gap between these 5 and those other ones is quite large. This one should fall off the list, in my opinion, and that is not because it doesn't have a great emitter, a Niozsche 219B, which is even better than the C version. It has excellent programmable user interface, an excellent pocket clip, incredibly good finishing, titanium and multiple material available. The problem with this light is the fact that the output with the various different battery types drops off so rapidly after pressing the button that it feels like the output is a lie. When you press the button, you would expect that it would stay at that output for a given amount of time. The problem is within 30 seconds, this is less than half of the starting output at its turbo with a 14500, and for me that is simply unacceptable. If it can't handle the heat for more than a minute, you should change what it's rated to and put it at some proper output that's actually going to be something it can maintain. And we know that you can maintain a high output like 500 lumens for a long period of time given enough mass. This one does it, and it never gets hot enough that I'm concerned with it. So I do think that this light could be improved. And were it to have better carryover, in other words, were the output to stay at a more gradual decrease, I think this will solidify itself in that top 5. As of right now, this could end up getting replaced if I find something better. I don't think any of the other lights that I have are worth including in this list as of right now. But I would like to see this be slightly improved. And I think doing so will make what is already a very good light even better. So that is it. I'm not going to try to drag through all these other flashlights, but let me just say that these are my 5 or 6, depending on the variation you want to call it, favorite flashlights in the AA size. Only one of them is dedicated to 14500, and only one of them is AA only. These other 3 to 4 lights, if you want to call them, these are able to use both variants, both battery types, including alkaline that you buy off the shelf, and for that reason these are some of the best flashlights that I've been able to find. So I hope this was helpful. I'm sorry that it isn't more in depth, but I tried doing this a couple of times and it ended up being a 45-minute video. So I'll let you guys go. Thanks for your time, and you guys have a great day.